Hello, dear. Welcome to Viornachannel. Take a seat and relax, because here, every story has a meaning. Let's begin this journey together with Viorna. Have you ever lost the one who loved you most before you could say thank you? The sun was shining just like any other day. But for an old woman sitting in her wooden chair by the window, this day felt empty. No phone call from her son. No message. No news. She stared at the little road in front of her house. The same road her son used to run down as a boy. Back then, every day after school, he would come running, shouting, "Mom, I'm home!" Now, it's just a memory, fading. Her son grew up. He became successful and busy. Busy chasing time. Busy building a life. So busy, he forgot that his time with his mother was also running out. Sometimes, silence from someone you love is louder than a scream. The woman wasn't angry. She never was. Every time her neighbors asked, "How's your son? Is he coming this weekend?" she would smile gently and reply, "He's doing well. Very busy, young people these days." But when she walked back inside her house, her shoulders sank. She looked at the calendar. So many dates were circled. His birthday, her birthday, even the last time he visited. Over 2 years ago. There were no photos of them together in recent years. Only old ones. Black and white? From when he was still small enough to sit on her lap. She used to cook his favorite dish every Sunday. Spiced rice with fried chicken, just like he loved as a child. At first, she kept cooking it, hoping he might come by surprise. Then, slowly, she stopped, because hope began to hurt more than hunger. She wasn't angry, but the silence? It grew heavier with every passing day. Not because he didn't love her, but because he didn't realize time was slipping away, and so was she. Some wounds can't be healed with just a simple sorry. One day, the old mother fell ill. It wasn't serious, just a mild fever and cough. But for her aging body, even the smallest pain felt 10 times heavier. She tried to get up and make herself some tea, but her hands trembled. The cup almost slipped from her grasp. So she sat back down in the corner of the living room, wrapped in a thick blanket, staring at nothing. On the small table in front of her, an old phone sat quietly. The battery was only 10%, but she kept waiting. Waiting for her child's voice. A message. A call. Anything. But the screen stayed dark. Silent. One night, she tried calling her son. Her heart raced. Hands sweaty. But as soon as it started ringing, she hung up. Afraid to be a bother? Afraid he'd think she was complaining. Afraid he'd drift even further away. Days passed, and she started talking to herself. Sometimes, it felt like her son was right there beside her. "Make sure you eat, okay? Don't work too hard. You'll get sick." Words spoken to no one, but the empty walls and the evening breeze. Time moved slowly, but the pain grew deeper. Not because of the distance, but because of the feeling of being forgotten. She knew her son wasn't a bad person. But sometimes, even good people forget that love isn't just a feeling. It's being there when it matters most. Sometimes, what we miss most isn't the past, but the small moments we never knew we'd long for. That morning, the sky was gray. The breeze carried the scent of wet soil, like memories returning without warning. She sat quietly in her old wooden chair. Her hands held a worn-out photograph. Her child, still young in the picture, smiling wide, with eyes full of wonder. She stared at it for a long time, as if silently asking, "When was the last time you hugged me just because you wanted to?" Then, a notification beeped from her phone. Not from her child, but from a younger neighbor. "Ma'am, can I bring you lunch today? How are you feeling this morning?" A gentle smile formed on her face. Not because of the food, but because someone still cared, even if it wasn't her own blood. That day, she found the courage to write a letter, not to scold, not to beg for love, just a small message. My child, I know you're busy, but if you ever read this, I just want to say, I miss you. I miss the little you who used to sneak rice into my mouth while laughing. I miss the you who fought to sit on my lap. I miss who you were. She never sent the letter. She kept it in the drawer deep inside, not because she was afraid of rejection, but because she understood. Some feelings are meant for the universe alone. Yet that day, her heart felt lighter. She brewed a cup of tea, sat on her small balcony, and for the first time in a long time, she enjoyed the morning without waiting for it to end. Sometimes, wounds don't heal with time, but with a heart that finally learns to let go, even without being held again. The saddest goodbye is the one that happens without a proper farewell. He finally came home. Not for a holiday, not for celebration, but because a neighbor said, "Your mother hasn't been feeling well lately." He stood at the doorway. Everything looked smaller than he remembered. The floor creaked. The walls held silence like a secret. She wasn't in the living room. She wasn't in the garden. Then he saw the letter, still in the drawer, unopened. And on the table, a teacup, half full, cold. He entered the bedroom slowly. She was there, resting, eyes closed, hands calm, as if time had finally let her sleep without waiting. "Ma." His voice cracked, but she didn't move. Tears fell silently. Not the kind of tears you cry when someone leaves, but the kind that falls when you realize you were already too late. He sat beside her, held her hand, though it didn't hold back. He whispered, "I'm sorry I grew up and forgot to look back. I'm sorry I let the world teach me that success was more important than coming home. I thought you'd always be here. I thought I had more time." The funeral was simple. Just a few neighbors, a quiet prayer, and a son who never stopped crying, even after the last flower was placed on her grave. Days passed. He stayed in the house. He opened her letters, read her journals, found photos he never knew she kept. One note read, "If you ever come back when I'm gone, I forgive you. I hope you learn to forgive yourself too." That night he sat in the same old chair, looked at the stars above, and whispered, "Thank you for loving me, even when I didn't deserve it. I promise, I'll tell your story, so other children won't forget the hearts that raised them, so no one else comes home too late." Sometimes, we forget that mothers are human too. They get tired, they hurt. If time could turn back, maybe the child would have hugged his mother more, listened more, and demanded less. But life doesn't offer a rewind. All we have is today's chance to love our mother while we still can. So if you can still say "Mom" today, say it now, because one day, only silence will answer. Thank you for spending your time with Viornachannel today. If this story touched your heart, leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe because we believe life becomes more meaningful when we share. See you in the next story. Thank you, and take care of your heart.